emergency?
Yeah, you guys need to send somebody. Somebody just got shot.
San Francisco 911, what's the exact location of your emergency?
Yeah, I'm driving past the Safeway over on Webster and Gary, and I heard a whole bunch of what sounded like gunshots.
Or as the associate pastor on their roster is to be the mediator between God and the family of the deceased. It's also to provide comfort, to make sure that they understand that death is a reality. It's a reality that every single person in this room is going to face at some point. But trying to find the words, trying to find the right sentences, the composition of different things to say that's going to provide hope and some sense of security and serenity is not easy. Because you're dealing with a group of people who've lost someone that's been with them every single day. Someone that they grew up with. Someone that they were able to hold. Someone that they ate across the dinner table with on a regular basis. And as we have had an opportunity to perhaps read the obituary, we hear that young Jeffrey Johnson, otherwise known as JJ, had a rich, a promising, and a wonderful life. After Thanksgiving Day, as the obituary refers to, he was senselessly and mercilessly caught in the middle of a gang fire. He wasn't affiliated with the gang, but yet his life was snuffed out. Thanksgiving one day and death the next day. It wasn't just Jeffrey who left a piece of himself with his family, but also with his friends, also with his classmates, also with his siblings. And now they only have the memory of someone who was with them just a few hours, just a few days before. And I come in to try to help bring comfort to people who no longer have someone coming home to them anymore. So as we read the obituary, we know that Jeffrey Marcus Johnson was born on September 19, 1995 to the union of Jeffrey Johnson Jr. and Michelle Lynette Johnson at Mount Zion Hospital in San Francisco, California. He was the second of 4 children. Jeffrey was a senior at George Washington High School in San Francisco, California, and he played on the varsity football and basketball teams. He was an honor roll student. He was also part of the Black Student Union and the debate team. He wanted to attend Georgetown University in Washington, D.C., or Duke University in Durham, North Carolina. Jeffrey dreamed of being an NBA star and playing for the Miami Heat or the New York Knicks. Jeffrey accepted Christ at an early age and was baptized at the Providence Baptist Church of San Francisco. He attended Sunday school and he sang in the Imani Voices of Praise Youth Choir. He participated in various youth activities at the church. He enjoyed playing on the church's basketball team. And on Friday, November 23rd, 2012, after enjoying a quiet Thanksgiving with his family, Jeffrey was shot in the head as he walked home from the movies. He had no gang affiliation, but he was caught in the middle of gang violence. Jeffrey leaves to cherish his memory, his parents, Jeffrey and Michelle Johnson, his 2 sisters, Akilah and Denise, a brother, Timothy, his grandparents, Samuel and Mary Jean Johnson, and George and Betty Lou Marcus, his godparents, Melvin and Rebecca Seals, 6 special cousins, and they're all listed. And then he had 1 special friend, Annette, and a host of other relatives, and many dear friends. If we were at Providence Baptist Church, I would remind everyone of how difficult it is to lose a loved one and come to this point. But if we turn to the book of Psalms in the 92nd Psalm, at that, Moses Lewis writes that it's important to teach us to number our days. Everyone in this room has a story. Jeffrey Marcus certainly had a story. The length of each sentence that comprises your story is of varying lengths. It could be as short as 2 words. If I look at a manuscript like the Bible, it could be like Jesus wept. 2 words, real short. Or it can be extremely complex. And it's usually those complex sentences that we're used to attributing to someone who's had a long life, as the Bible usually assures us of at least 70 years. That's if you're living a good life and if you're hooked up and linked with God. Marcus started off well. He joined the church. He did everything that was right, and yet the story of Jeffrey was relatively short. Impactful, powerful, wonderful young man. And yet his life, his story was cut short. How do I, as the pastor, begin to comfort the mother and the father who grieved someone who did everything right, who loved his family, who loved his community, who loved his school and had not just big dreams, but really a promise of maybe coming back? How do you comfort a family who could see potential right before their eyes? I have to help them see this matter, not just the way we look as individuals, but through the lens that God has for us. That's if I were to present a eulogy for young Jeffrey. But part of my job also is to provide comfort and hope for the shooter. You see, I also go into the jails and into the prisons. And the statistics, as Lieutenant Johnson referred to, are startling. It's startling to know that 1 in 15 African American men at this time are in a jail or a prison somewhere in this country. It's startling to know that while for women, 1 in 100 are in jail, but it's even more pronounced when it comes to women of color, particularly African American and Latina. We're talking about a number that's closer to 1 in 30. A loss of life, an opportunity to spread hope, a loss of physical life here, but a loss of life behind bars. No more opportunity to get up when you want to behind bars. No more opportunity to use your cell phone when you want to behind bars. No more opportunity to get up and make whatever kind of sandwich, make popcorn, go to the movies, hang out with anybody behind bars. And the stark reality is, when I begin to visit those, could be like the shooter, behind bars, their family starts out coming up strong and in great numbers the first few months. It gets a little bit less after the next year. It dwindles down to maybe 3 or 4 by the 3rd or 4th year. And the stark reality is that if there is a conviction and someone is sent away for more than 7 years, I'm often the only one that comes to visit. So when I say it's a loss of life, yes, it's an awful opportunity to eulogize someone who was so great because their life was taken away in such a short period of time. But I also view a loss of life behind bars, because if a stark reality is you not just lose the freedom to do so many things out here, but eventually you lose your family. Eventually, you lose everything that was of value to you. But there is hope, because the choices that we make now determine whether or not there's a short sentence or a complex sentence. Whether you enjoy family and friends now, or if I'm the only face and the only family that you end up having. There's also the reality of the hope that whether your life was promising and full and rich, like Brother Jeffrey's, knowing that God is there to be with you and to comfort you and to propel you and to just do everything that you need done. But that same God that loves Jeffrey also loves the one behind bars. And so I'm motivated to go to make sure that if I end up being the only family that you have, that at least as God's representative, you have that. Teach us to number our days while we can. Make each and every moment count while you're here. Make strong and good decisions while you have time. The one thing you don't know is when a period will be put behind your name. God bless you and God keep you.
Through the tears and all my fears, the Lord was there to keep me, for He's kept me in the midst of it all. Not because I've been so faithful,
Anyone have any questions for any of the speakers? You probably can come up and ask, but you're a little shy. Oh, one question, okay.
Yeah. What I wanted to ask you was, did you work on a case with regards to being a Letitia Hunter? Letitia Hunter?
Who you addressing?
No.
Who was the question addressed?
Both police officers. I can't ask you that. My mom's not going to say. 3 years ago.
How long?
3 years ago.
Where did it happen?
It happened like downtown San Francisco. She was in the bystander. More than one person got shot. 6 people got shot. My mom was over in the back.
Yes. I was there. I did not work on it. I was in charge of one of the people in charge of that scene.
I have another question. Did you work on Mr. Gary Smith?
I'm sorry, who?
Gary Smith.
Gary Smith? Unfortunately, we don't have the names when they're talking. Can you tell me where it happened?
It happened on a mission.
How long ago? Where on Mission?
A few months ago.
In the Mission District, downtown
Mission
Mission.
District.
Glad that in your case found the people responsible for this crime. But the reality is we may have maybe less than 5% of homicides being solved. And that's unfortunate because most people want closure, as you so mentioned. But the reality comes right back to the idea when you're talking about people of color versus whites, the rate of solvability drops is abysmal. So I don't want anybody to think that when you see a homicide, we don't know. And after a period of a time, as time passes, you don't catch people within 48 hours. You see the TV show, that's reality. The chance of solving that case becomes less and less as each passing hour and day goes along. And so you have cases that have been pending for over 30, sometimes 30 years because they have not been solved. And if it's not solved within a certain period of time, it becomes a cold case, sitting somewhere collecting dust. So you have a lot of families out there who want closure but never get it. So that's another sad thing about those who are left behind when it comes to homicide.
Come up.
Okay, my name is David Foster. I got 2 questions. One question for you, one question for you. I'm sorry, I'm loud anyway. What's your name again?
Dr. Campbell.
Dr. Campbell. What was your hardest task and did you complete in a surgical procedure?
I've been a surgeon for 24 years, and the longest operation I ever did was 18 hours. 18 hours. It started at 8 o'clock in the morning and it ended at 5 o'clock the next day, and I was operating pretty much continuously the whole time. It was a big blood vessel problem. It wasn't a trauma problem, but it was fixing a blood vessel on the side of somebody's abdomen and doing some other stuff. So that was hard. And then I'd get up and I'd do another 5-hour operation after that. But it's over. You accumulate. There's a guy. His name is He's an author. He wrote this book called The Outliers. Malcolm Gladwell. That's his name. Malcolm Gladwell. Now, what his book is very interesting. It's about 10,000 hours. So what it means is that if you're going to be good at something, if you're going to be a paramedic captain, you're going to be a police officer, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to have to spend $10,000 hours, right, learning how to do it. Now, during my length of training, I spent 60,000 hours doing what I was doing. So that means I'm maybe 6 times as good as at least maybe it took me longer. But it takes, to do what I do, you got to have a lot of experience, you got to have a lot of knowledge, and you got to be able to think on your feet. So it takes time. You accumulate information, knowledge, experience over a period of time. Now, I have probably 100,000 hours now doing stuff over a period of time, but I'm able to deal with pretty much most everything that I have. So, but, you know, things are hard, things are difficult, but I've seen it done pretty much everything you can imagine over the years.
So that person's still alive today?
What's that?
That person's still alive today?
Yeah, he's still alive.
Alright.
Yeah, most of the time I win. I don't like to lose.
I don't like to lose.
I don't go with this. I don't like to lose, so.
I don't like to lose. Okay, next question for you, Mr. Johnson, right?
Lieutenant Johnson.
Lieutenant Johnson.
No, Mr. Johnson is fine.
Alright, so,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson, okay, you said that, if you, have you ever been in a situation where you had to take a person's life because that person was about to take your life?
I've been in a lot of situations like that. The difference is I take a moment, unlike some of my counterparts, to really think about what I'm about to do. And sometimes that moment is a split second. And whatever you want to call it, divine intervention or something that change of heart, it stops. And it's kind of hard to describe when you are in the heat of battle, and you are confronted with an armed suspect, or you just got word of a fleeing suspect from a homicide scene or whatever, in a shooting. You come face to face with these individuals, and it slows down. I can't describe it. The whole mind starts to focus and hone in. And I have to pray, because I'm a firm believer in life. All life has value. All life has meaning. Even though this person has done something horrendous, I still want to believe that that person still deserves life. And I don't want to be the executioner. So I'm not so quick to take life. But when I am confronted with it, I have to do my duty. It is my duty to protect you and others. So I have never fired my gun to take someone's life. I've been that fortunate. But I came close. It's just the nature of the beast. And so, but I wanted to just ask you the first question, because I remember my first. Death doesn't go away, folks. When you see death, it's always there. And I have to find a way to suppress it so that I can function as a human being. But I remember one time I get a call on 26th and Folsom at the Army Street Projects of a Latin male who was shot with a rifle, AK-47. Never forget this, it was raining. And I come up on the scene and I hear this. I'm saying, what the? And it's slow, like the air of the tire being deflated. And what I heard was the air of life leaving that man's body. And it's something that you will never forget. See, death has a sound. Death has a look. And you can't describe it, but you know it when you see it. It's in the eyes, the absence of a soul, and it's in the sound of the air leaving the lungs. You never forget it. And so I only drive these points home because most of you never heard death. Most of you have never seen it. I only pray that you don't have to experience it. Appreciate it.
My name is Essence. I'm 20 and my career is security. First of all, I'd like to say I appreciate each and every one of you guys for being here, because personally I felt like I needed that. I have a cousin as well as some brothers and, male, family members that are in gangs and different things. And for me, I don't really understand. I've been sheltered most of my life, so it was just very oblivion to me. But I'm realizing why they do the things they do. And as a pride issue, it was a respect issue, but it all really, it's just stupidity. And it's, I just really pray that it will just cease. But I watch true crime TV. I do Discovery. Hooks on all of them. And like
5% of the cases that you guys claim were like less weren't solved. I don't really understand that, because like most of the cases that I watch on TV at least are solved, or most of them. So I mean, I'm kind of scared when you guys say that, like, wow, this is the reality.
So is that a question? Why?
Yes, it is.
Well, from a law enforcement perspective, the fire department comes in, they do what they have to do. And the good doctor here, he has the awesome power of trying to save life on his end. But we have to solve the crime. And one of the most difficult things that finds difficult solving the case is that we have no evidence. We hear it all the time, but unless we have evidence and facts and proof to be able to arrest someone, which is called probable cause, and to hold that person in arraignment preliminary to trial requires evidence, both physical evidence and eyewitnesses. And because the victim is dead, obviously. If he was alive, he'd be able to tell you who shot you. Half the times, cats on the street who's on the verge of dying, we may get what they call a dying declaration. But even the guy who knows he's about to die, he doesn't want to talk, crazy as it may sound. And so that's why it's so difficult. So we go knock on doors. Most people don't trust law enforcement in these neighborhoods. They are out of fear of retaliation. So I do understand that when you're talking about trying to get people to participate, we have to do our part as well. But there's a fear factor. That's why it takes courage to get over the fear and do what you're obligated to do, to tell the truth, to find out who's responsible. That's that component. Back to your cousins and your brothers who were involved in that. That concrete jungle only produces animals. That's the reality of it.
I meant to say my cousins. Or my brothers are influenced by it, however they don't carry on.
Well, I'm speaking to you. It doesn't have to be your brother. When I'm speaking, you ask why they do those things.
Yeah.
People are going to respond to their environment. They live in the jungle, don't be surprised. I know there's no angels on earth when people are raised in hell. That's the reality. The only hope that I have for young people is to get them out that environment, to have some influence, take them to the mountains, have them feel snow, have them experience other things, have them experience life, so they can forget about living death. That makes sense? So that's what it is required.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. If you want to talk to them afterwards, they'll be up here for some of your shine.
I'm sorry. Who are you? Who are you? You need to say that for the camera.
You work in Recreation Ed.
Thank you.